Welcome back to Hooligan Nation, the KISS-Centric podcast. I'm Anthony.
And I'm Rocco.
Oh, The Rock.
How you doing?
We are back for another Wednesday bonus segment. This week, our bonus segment is our discussion in regards to Peter Criss's announcement that he will drop a new rock album this fall.
Is it weird that I'm very excited about it?
Yeah, I'm nervously excited,
You know what?
maybe.
He said in an interview that you're going to talk about. He said it's something that's been after him to do for a long time.
Yeah, actually, since 1978.
And I've been waiting for the second Black Diamond song to come out ever since then.
Well, let's get into this, all right?
I
On April 24th, Julian Gill dropped a video with Peter Criss on the KISS FAQ YouTube channel. Julian described the album as a kick-ass hard rock album. The album is produced by Barry Pointer, who produced Marilyn Manson and Ozzy Osbourne, among others. Billy Sheehan, John Five, Piggy D, and Paul Schaefer guest on the album. Father Rocco, what do you think?
The only one that makes me a little nervous about the old Vegas style Peter Criss album is Paul
Paul
Schaefer.
Schaefer.
But Johnny Five gives you hope. I mean, listen, every Kiss fan out there and all you hooligans, I guarantee that Peter has been hearing for a long time. You know, we need more of that rock voice from you. We need more of that. So the reason I'm excited is I hope at some point, that he still has the chops vocally, and we get a little more songs like in that style. I mean, he's got one last shot at this. If I hear another song like the Mama that your sugar, what's that? The Mama, what's that song that he has on the solo album?
The kind of sugar that Papa likes.
That's the one. Yeah, yeah. I will physically I will buy the album just to burn it if I hear more of that stuff.
I'm cautiously optimistic. What makes me very nervous is Peter has released 5 albums since 1978.
Mm-hmm.
And the closest to a kick-ass hard rock album was the Criss album Cat 1 in 1994. Now, I spent this morning listening to a few of the songs, and it's a rock album, but it is not a Peter Criss solo album. It was a band. So I'm nervous. I'm concerned. Honestly, I'm a little scared.
There's one aspect of this that still is kind of cool either way. How much have we said that we, at least until recently, the dude's been retired? Like, you're not going to see Peter, right? Even if you see Kiss Storms Vegas, the only shot you got to see in Peter there is a meet and greet and autograph signing, because he's been completely out of circulation. It's kind of cool that he's circulating again.
You don't find it funny that all of this is happening at the same time?
Well, is it funny hee hee or funny ha ha?
I think it quite possibly could be both funny hee hee and funny ha ha. And seriously, dude, think about it. So Kiss storms Vegas. They make the announcement, and I don't even think it was a month later. Peter Criss announces that he has a new rock album dropping in the fall. Kiss storms Vegas happens in the fall. I don't know. Call me a crazy Kiss conspiracy theorist, but Eric Singer has still not been announced. I don't think there's anything going on with Eric Singer. I think that they're playing some kind of promotional game. But you have to want, if you're a crazy Kiss fan and you're a conspiracy theorist, you have to start to wonder, like, are these guys all together having discussions? We had a listener post, and I don't have it on me because it's going to be one of our shouted out louds this weekend. But he posted an opinion about don't waste your money or your time on Kiss Storms Vegas. Uh, Look, he's free to his opinion. I can tell you right now, like we're going to Vegas, but Kiss Storms Vegas is not the only reason why we're going. But I wonder if his opinion would be different if all of a sudden every living member of Kiss is going to be at Kiss Storms Vegas except Vinnie Vincent, because I think that's off the table. But imagine if they announced that and all of a sudden Eric's in and all of a sudden Peter's in and Ace is in, because Peter's not going to make $1 million off dropping a new album in 2025 unless he's going to tour behind it, and I don't see that happening. As long as he puts the new album out before Kiss Storms Vegas, oh my God, the, the Kiss fans will go crazy and they'll all buy it. I mean, I think we're all going to buy it anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Common sense tells you he's financially backing his own album because I don't see a record company financially backing it. So he put his own money in it. So because of that, yeah, I think we as Kiss fans should support him by buying the CD.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely, I would think, probably a personal pet project because albums don't make money these days unless you're Taylor Swift or super pop.
Or you're going to tour. I don't see a
Yeah,
79-year-old Peter Criss. Look,
no.
this has been said before. We're not breaking any news. I'm not trying to break any news, but I could see Peter doing something in the area, maybe one or two things, but I do not think that he's going to go on, 50 tour date
It's not even worth
tour.
talking. Yeah, it's not even worth even saying
I
because it's
just
not
don't
happening.
I just don't see it happening. I
You brought up the last segment, the short segment thing about the whole residency thing. I mean, they can customize if they did do a residency, they can customize it any way they want and have open doors for one-offs. If you know what I mean. If all of a sudden, hey, listen, you want to come out? I mean, they could do stuff like that.
look, I believe that I am the king of crazy ideas. I think it would be great to do a residency that included Peter, Ace, Bruce, Eric, Tommy, Paul, and Gene, and somehow figure out a way. It's no different than what I said in one of our prior episodes about, I think it would be probably a once a month thing, but don't you think that that would be really cool to come out and, Bruce does a set and then Peter does a set and then Ace does a set and then the four current members of Kiss do a set and then they all go up there for an encore, let's say, and play three or four songs all together. Ooh, I can tell you right now, I'd go to Vegas again for that. I would do that, and I think a lot of others would do that. It's
Well, I
just a
don't
matter
think.
of whether they want to be bothered with that, and the other thing is, can they get along in a
Yeah, I mean,
business sense?
look at the acoustic thing. Paul, one of the first things Paul said, and this is, I'm not being naive here. I'm just throwing it out there just for the hell of it. But he said at the very beginning, what does he say? He goes, "We got a couple members of the family coming back." I mean, at the end of the day, it's they're all connected, whether they want to be or not. They're all connected. So if you can get past the money part of it, and Ace is active, Gene is active. You know what I mean? Like,
And that's part of my reasoning is, for instance, Ace and Gene, more, I mean, Gene's doing it because he wants to. Ace, part of the reason probably why he's doing it is because he has to. So if Ace can make the same money that he's making right now by doing a residency instead of touring, why would he turn it down?
Yeah, I agree.
Bruce stopped touring with Grand Funk, and I'm guessing that that's related to age. I could be wrong, but Bruce lives in Las Vegas. Once a month, fly in on a Saturday morning, fly out on a Sunday morning or a Monday morning, and you do one show. It doesn't seem crazy to me, and the conspiracy theory hints just kind of keep adding up for me. I mean, first
But
you put a picture out of Gene, Paul, Tommy, and Eric Singer, and then that picture goes down, and then you announce Tommy, but you don't announce Eric, and then Peter announces that he's got a rock album dropping in the fall. Like,
mm,
too many pieces of the puzzle are starting to fall in place that it makes me think there's a possibility. I don't think anybody can tell you whether. I think what everybody would tell you is Vinny won't be involved.
mm. Well, I agree with that.
But that's it.
Yeah, but I do also think that, you know, I think a lot of the stuff that's coming down has been very calculated ever since the Avatar stuff. Like they have in place a plan for what comes after the touring with all the makeup and this, like they have it in their head and they have a cohesive plan. There's no doubt in my mind that regardless of what that plan is, residency, the sphere, like all this other stuff, they have a plan for what they're planning on doing in the remaining years.
But do you think Ace, Peter, and Eric Singer are included in that
It would be
plan?
dumb if they in their heads and it made a blanket statement to themselves, Gene and Paul, just Gene and Paul right now. If they made a blanket statement and would not allow that to be a possibility, it would be dumb business.
Absolutely. I mean, this goes back to what we said in that episode. Anything's possible.
Right.
Well, anything is possible. That's you're telling crazy Kiss fans like me that this is what you're thinking. But
Well,
as in the end of the road, like they talked about it and then they got a good enough ticket sales to where, as it turned out, they didn't include anybody and they didn't do anything.
well,
And we have never really jumped into that because I think my head would explode. But at some point, we have to discuss the last two Kiss concerts, touring Kiss concerts at Madison Square Garden, where it was just your average Kiss show.
yeah,
Like,
but the one question I have is, do you remember when the whole Doc McGee talked about you know the coming back together? Like I'm trying to think of how I want to word this. Remember how Gene and Paul were really not sure how much of a draw them all four back in makeup were going to be,
yes, the reunion.
and it was confirmed right away that they're like, okay, you know what? As far as Gene and Paul is concerned, there's no way, shape, or form they could think that they're not going to be a draw with the four of them ever. That it would sell. The four of them are always going to sell.
Always. Oh, always.
That's
I
why it's
mean,
got to be on the table. They're smart businessmen. It's got to be on the table always.
wasn't on the table for the end of the road tour.
In their terms, on their terms though,
On whose terms?
on Gene and Paul's terms.
But I think that's part of the problem. At
Yeah.
least for Ace, can't speak about Peter. Peter, as far as I know, I don't think Peter ever made any statements about the end of the road tour. But it sounded to me, Ace's answer, I can't remember what the actual number was, but he made a comment on Eddie Trunk's
Oh, it
radio
was $1 million.
show. Nah, I think it was 250,000 or it was 200,000. That's not on Gene and Paul's terms. And I think that's part of The issue maybe that Ace has is anything you want to do with Kiss has to be on Gene and Paul's terms.
Hmm.
That could be, I can understand why that would be a problem. But once again, we have to remember whether anybody likes to hear this or not, or anybody likes us talking about this or not. Gene is touring because he wants to. Ace is touring probably because he has to. There's a big difference there.
Ace knows he's going to make a hell of a lot more money doing anything with Kiss as opposed to doing his own thing.
Yeah, but is it worth it?
Or it's going to have to be. It's going to have to make him more money than that.
Oh, it absolutely. Well, I don't know if it has to make him more money, but getting rid of the travel, to me, probably if it was equal amount of money, that would be good enough. I would think that that would be good enough not to have to travel. I mean,
Let me
you're
pose a
gonna
question to you. Between at this stage in their lives right now, who do you think enjoys being on stage more, Gene or Ace?
Gene.
That's what I'm saying.
Absolutely,
Like
Gene. And again, it goes back to Gene doesn't have to do this. I think Ace probably has to do this.
right.
I think that's part of the problem. Now, Peter, who knows? But I think Peter is probably putting this album out because he wants to. I don't know that Peter has to. Maybe he managed his, well, there's probably no maybe about it. He probably managed his reunion money better than Ace did. And this is probably a pet project, I would think, that he's funding. And, is this like if we all want to get all warm and fuzzy inside, we can think, well, we can think that this is for Kiss fans that, have been waiting every time a Peter Criss solo album comes out and we feel like somebody stomped on our nuts. Maybe this is for us.
I want another Black Diamond. I want a Baby Driver. I want a Hooligan. I'm putting my order in.
I would take another getaway.
I'll take a getaway too.
I mean,
Because Peter matters to me.
I got. Oh my God. Hey, let me ask you a question.
What do you got?
Do you YouTube?
I'm always on YouTube.
When you YouTube, how do you support the YouTubers that you like?
If I find something I dig, I subscribe to it and I hit like right away.
That's a great idea. I'm sure the creators appreciate your support.
I would think so.
You think maybe now's a good time to ask everyone in the audience to support us?
Absolutely.
To everyone in the audience, please subscribe to our little channel. And while you're there, hit the like button.
We're enjoying what we're doing and we want to continue to grow the hooligan community.
We appreciate all your support.
Absolutely.
All right, hooligans. So what do you think?
You matter to us.
Oh, that was nice. That was good. We should add you into our promotion and marketing department. That was very good. You can be audience relations. How's that?
That's interesting. I'll give it a shot.
So what do you think? Drop it in the comments below. This is out and about everywhere on YouTube and on the internet. Surprisingly to me, a lot of people expect this to be a Black Diamond type of album.
Well, the funniest comment that he made, I'm sorry to cut you off there. The funniest comment he made, when he said the word vibrant, I was like,
Yeah. Well, the most amazing comment was kick-ass hard rock album. The guy listened to the album. So I gotta believe he's absolutely telling the truth. Because if the album comes out and it's a redo of 1978 album, Julian Gill is going to have a lot of questions to answer.
That's for damn sure.
Almost the same amount that Peter's going to have to answer. If unless Peter just goes underground again.
Well, I mean, the cat's got is going to be spending out the last of his 9 lives on this album.
That will be beautiful. And when that album comes out, the cat will be out of the bag.
Meow.
On that note, if you're listening to us on any of the podcast platforms, please leave us a review. And if you just found us, check out our past episodes. If you're watching us on our YouTube channel and you like this episode, please consider hitting the like button, just like him, and leaving us a comment. Hit that subscribe button, just like him, so you don't miss any future episodes. And check out these episodes right up here. As always, if you made it this far, you matter to us. And that's why. You matter to me. And that's why. That's why. We thank you for supporting us. And don't forget, if it's too loud, you're too old. Peace out, Hooligan Nation.